Let me ask you something. Why do some people seem to attract wealth effortlessly, while others struggle their entire lives just to stay afloat? It's not luck. It's not destiny. It's habits. Tiny, daily habits that either build your empire or destroy it quietly. Today, I want to expose 7 simple habits that will keep you poor forever unless you decide to break them, starting now. Habit 1. Spending before you earn. The first habit is spending before you earn. You get a paycheck, and before the sun sets, it's gone. New clothes, new phone, new dopamine hit. And then you wonder why you're stuck in the same loop every month. We don't get rich by what we earn. We get rich by what we keep. Every time you spend to impress someone, remember, they're not paying your bills. Habit 2. Thinking small. The second habit, thinking small. You trade your time for money, 1 hour for $1, and think that's all there is. But the wealthy ask, how can I make my time work for me? They build systems, assets, and ideas that pay them even when they sleep. If you keep thinking like a worker, you'll always work for someone else's dream. Habit 3. Fear of risk. Third, fear of risk. You play safe. You wait for the right time. But here's the truth. Safety is an illusion. The world changes faster than your comfort zone. The people who grow rich are not fearless. They just move despite fear. Every risk avoided is an opportunity lost. Habit 4, negative circle. Fourth, you hang around the wrong people. Complainers, blamers, gossipers. They drain your energy and kill your belief. You can't fly with eagles if you keep scratching with chickens. Look at your 5 closest friends. That's your future net worth. Habit 5, not investing in yourself. Fifth, you don't invest in yourself. You'll spend $200 on a night out, but hesitate to buy a $20 book. The poor by entertainment, the rich by education, because knowledge compounds faster than money ever will. Every skill you master adds another stream to your financial river. Habit 6, procrastination. 6, procrastination. I'll start tomorrow. But tomorrow never comes. Your dreams are dying from delay. Every later becomes never. Discipline may feel painful today, but regret hurts far more tomorrow. Habit 7, ignoring money. And finally, the 7th habit, you ignore your money. You don't track it, plan it, or command it. And what you ignore leaves. Money is like a relationship. If you don't get attention, it walks away to someone who does. Here are some key points related to this. Wealth or poverty is built through daily habits, not one-time luck. Stop spending to impress. Save and invest to progress. Think bigger. Build income that doesn't depend solely on your time. Your environment matters. Surround yourself with growth-minded people. Invest in self-education. It's the highest return asset you'll ever own. Replace procrastination with action. Small, consistent steps change everything. You get your paycheck, and for a brief moment, the world feels lighter. The numbers in your bank account finally look like a small victory, like a sigh of relief after holding your breath for weeks. You tell yourself, this time, I'll be smart. I'll save. But within hours, the money begins to slip away. You buy the shoes you've been eyeing, grab dinner with friends, upgrade your phone because I deserve it. And before the weekend even ends, you're back to checking your balance with that familiar knot in your stomach. You don't remember where it all went, just that it's gone. This is the first habit that keeps so many people trapped. Spending before you earn, living for the moment, not realizing the future is built one decision at a time. Most people don't stay poor because they don't work hard. They stay poor because they never give their money a job. They treat it like a visitor instead of a worker. When your money arrives, instead of commanding it, you release it, and it never comes back with friends. There's a story about a man named Daniel who earned well, yet always struggled. Every payday was a celebration, and every week after was survival. He told himself, once I make more, everything will change. But it didn't, because earning more doesn't fix the problem. Managing what you already have does. He was chasing income, not discipline. It's like trying to fill a bucket full of holes. No matter how much water you pour in, it keeps leaking out. The bucket isn't the problem. The holes are. Think of money like seeds. Every dollar is a seed that can grow into something greater, but only if you plant it. Most people don't plant. They eat their seeds. They live off what was meant to multiply. That's why wealth never arrives, because it's consumed before it can even take root. When you spend mindlessly, you're not just losing money. You're losing time, freedom, and opportunity. Warren Buffett once said, "Do not save what is left after spending, but spend what is left after saving." It sounds simple, but it's a dividing line between wealth and worry. The poor see saving as optional. The wealthy see it as oxygen. The moment you start keeping a portion of what you earn, you're sending a message to the universe that you can be trusted with more. Every dollar you save is a vote for your future self. Every unnecessary purchase is a vote against it. The habit of spending before earning doesn't just keep you poor financially. It keeps you poor mentally. Because each time you let money control you, you reinforce the idea that you're not in command. The rich control their money. The poor let money control their mood. Imagine what would happen if you reversed the pattern. If the moment your paycheck arrived, you saved first, even a little. If you told your money where to go, instead of wondering where it went. It wouldn't be easy, but over time, you'd feel something shift. That quiet panic around bills would fade. The late-night worries about how to make it to next week would soften. Because true wealth doesn't start when you earn more. It starts when you keep more. Most people spend their entire lives thinking small without even realizing it. They grow up hearing phrases like, "Be realistic," "Don't aim too high," "Get a safe job." And those words quietly build walls around their imagination. Thinking small doesn't always look like fear. Sometimes it looks like comfort. It's that quiet voice that says, "This is enough. I shouldn't want more." But the truth is, every person who ever changed their life started by wanting more. The difference between the rich and the poor isn't intelligence or luck. It's how big they allow their thoughts to grow. Imagine a man named Arif who works 9 to 5, day after day, trading his time for money. He's good at his job, maybe even great, but his income always hits the same ceiling. He dreams of starting a small business, something he's passionate about, but every time he tries, the thought of failure stops him cold. He tells himself, "I can't risk it. I just need stability." So he spends years building someone else's dream, while his own ideas slowly fade. What he doesn't realize is that safety and stagnation often wear the same face. The world rewards those who create, not those who hesitate. Thinking small is like trying to plant a tree inside a jar. It may sprout, but it will never grow. Every time you settle for less, you shrink the space where possibility can exist. The wealthy think differently. They ask, "How can I multiply my time, my impact, my money?" They build systems that earn while they sleep. They hire, delegate, automate. They know time is a limited resource. So they find ways to make it work for them instead of selling it piece by piece. There's a story about a factory worker who started reading about investing during his lunch breaks. His co-workers laughed at him, called him the dreamer, but he kept learning, kept studying, and eventually started his own small online store. Within 5 years, he wasn't working for a paycheck anymore. His money was working for him. The people who once laughed were still clocking in, still complaining, still trading their hours for survival. The only thing that separated him from them was mindset. As Henry Ford once said, "Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right." That's the entire game. Thinking small is poverty in disguise because it limits what you believe you deserve. If you only ever believe you can earn just enough to survive, you'll subconsciously make choices that keep you there. But when you think big, you start to see opportunities where others see walls. You stop asking, "Can I afford this?" and start asking, "How can I afford this?" The moment you expand your thinking, everything else begins to expand with it. You see possibilities that were invisible before. You stop fearing risk because you realize that staying small is the biggest risk of all. Thinking small keeps you safe, but it also keeps you stuck. Stuck in routines, stuck in doubt, stuck in mediocrity disguised as comfort. When you finally dare to think beyond survival, life starts to show you what was waiting beyond the limits you built for yourself. Fear of risk is one of the quietest killers of potential. It doesn't come shouting, it whispers. It convinces you that now isn't the right time, that you need just a little more security. And before you know it, Years have passed and nothing has changed. Most people don't fail because they took too many risks. They fail because they never took one at all. The fear of losing becomes stronger than the desire to win. It's a subtle trap because it feels responsible. It feels mature. But safety, when stretched too far, becomes a cage disguised as comfort. Picture a woman named Layla. She's worked the same job for 8 years, good pay, predictable routine, nothing too stressful. But every night, she sketches clothing designs in her notebook, dreaming of launching her own brand. Her friends tell her, "You should do it." And she smiles and says, "Maybe someday." Someday becomes next year, and next year becomes never. She's not lazy, not untalented. She's scared. Scared of what might happen if she fails, if people laugh, if the business doesn't work. And yet, what she doesn't realize is that every day she doesn't try, she's already losing something far greater, the life she could have lived. Risk doesn't mean recklessness. It means trusting yourself enough to take a step into the unknown. The wealthiest people in the world are not fearless. They're simply willing to move through fear. Elon Musk once said, "When something is important enough, you do it even if the odds are not in your favor." That's the essence of success. You do it because you must, not because you're sure it will work. Most people wait for the right time, the perfect conditions, the perfect plan, the perfect guarantee. But perfection never comes. The world belongs to those who act while others are still planning. Every breakthrough, every fortune, every revolution began with a risk someone else was too afraid to take. When you play it safe, you may protect yourself from loss, but you also protect yourself from growth. There's an old saying, "A ship is safe in harbor," but that's not what ships are built for. You weren't built to live in comfort zones. You were built to explore, to create, to stretch the edges of what's possible. Risk is how you trade the known for the extraordinary. It's how dreams evolve from thoughts into reality. Every risk you take either gives you what you wanted or teaches you what you needed. Both are valuable. Both move you forward. When fear wins, dreams die quietly. But when courage wins, even one small act of bravery can change everything. The people you admire, the ones who seem to live freely, they're not special. They just stopped letting fear sit in the driver's seat. They took the leap, and in doing so, discovered something most people never will. The unknown isn't something to avoid. It's the only place where new life begins. The people around you are not just company. They are currents that either pull you forward or drag you under. Most people underestimate how deeply their environment shapes their destiny. You can have the best goals, the clearest vision, and the strongest discipline. But if you spend your days surrounded by negativity, it seeps into your spirit. Energy is contagious. If you sit long enough with complainers, you start to complain. If you listen too often to people who say it's impossible, you start to believe it is. Poverty doesn't just spread through lack of money. It spreads through mindset, through words, through the people we let speak into our lives. Imagine a young man named Sammy. He has dreams of starting his own marketing agency. He reads books, watches motivational talks, and writes business ideas late into the night. But during the day, he spends his time with friends who mock ambition. When he talks about his goals, they roll their eyes and say, "Bro, stop dreaming. Just be happy with what you have." They spend hours gossiping, blaming the system, blaming luck, blaming everyone but themselves. Slowly, Sammy stops sharing his dreams. Then he stops believing in them, not because they were impossible, but because he was outnumbered by doubt. His environment didn't support growth. It suffocated it. There's a reason successful people protect their circle so fiercely. They know that conversations shape beliefs, and beliefs shape destiny. Jim Rohn famously said, "You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with." It sounds simple, but it's a law of life. Sit with 5 broke people, and you'll be the 6th. Sit with 5 dreamers, and your mind will start expanding beyond what you thought was possible. We don't rise alone. We rise with energy we keep close. Negative people love company because misery feeds on attention. They don't even realize they're draining you. They're just repeating the patterns they live in. When you talk about new possibilities, they talk about old failures. When you focus on progress, they remind you of what could go wrong. It's like trying to plant flowers in a room with no sunlight. No matter how good your intentions are, the soil isn't right. Sometimes the hardest part of growth isn't learning something new. It's unlearning the people who no longer fit your future. You might have to walk away from circles that feel familiar, but keep you small. It's painful, but necessary. Because if you don't, their energy becomes your identity. Surround yourself with those who talk about ideas, not people. Those who lift you higher instead of keeping you average. When you start doing that, something beautiful happens. Your standards rise. You begin to speak differently, think differently, move differently. You start to realize that wealth isn't only about money. It's about the quality of energy you allow into your life. The right people don't just inspire you. They remind you of who you truly are when you've forgotten your own potential. Most people spend hundreds on things that disappear within days, but hesitate to invest a fraction of that into something that could change their life forever. They'll buy the latest phone, a new outfit, another night out. Yet when it comes to a course, a book, or a mentorship, they pause. It's too expensive, they say, not realizing that ignorance costs far more than education ever will. The fifth habit that keeps people poor is simple but devastating. They never invest in themselves. They see personal growth as optional, not essential, and that's why their lives never expand beyond what they already know. There's a man named Adil who worked tirelessly in a small office, always complaining that opportunities never came his way. One day, a friend told him about an online digital marketing course. Adil hesitated. It cost a week's salary. What if it doesn't work? He said. So he didn't buy it. A few months later, another colleague took that same course, started freelancing, and within a year was making triple what Adil earned. That moment stung. Adil finally realized that it was an opportunity that avoided him. It was his unwillingness to invest in himself that kept him stuck. The poor often buy entertainment to escape their lives, while the rich buy education to improve them. It's not about money, it's about mindset. The wealthy understand that every skill you acquire adds another stream to your river of income. Each new thing you learn multiplies your value in the marketplace. Knowledge compounds faster than money because what you learn today can pay you for the rest of your life. Think of a seed. When planted, it doesn't grow overnight. It takes time, nurturing, sunlight, and patience. Investing in yourself works the same way. A book won't make you rich tomorrow, but it may plant the idea that changes your entire financial future. A course won't bring instant wealth, but it can teach you the skill that opens every door you once thought was locked. Those who stay poor often see learning as an expense. Those who become rich see it as leverage. As Benjamin Franklin said, an investment in knowledge pays the best interest. But most people never experience that interest because they're too focused on short-term comfort. They'd rather feel good now than grow stronger later. But every time you choose comfort over growth, you trade your future for your present. Every time you say, I can't afford to learn, what you're really saying is, I can afford to stay the same. The most powerful returns don't come from stocks or real estate. They come from the person you become, the skills you master, the mindset you build, the resilience you develop. Those things can never be taken away. When you invest in yourself, you tell the world you're serious about your potential. You stop waiting for miracles and start becoming one. And slowly, without fanfare, your life begins to shift. Not because you got lucky, but because you became someone who could handle what you once only dreamed of having. Procrastination is a thief that doesn't break in loudly. It sneaks in quietly, disguised as comfort, whispering, "You'll do it tomorrow." It convinces you that you have time, that you can wait, that your dream can survive one more day of delay. But what procrastination really does is drain your life in small, unnoticeable doses. You don't lose years all at once. You lose them in wasted hours, in postponed plans, in maybe next week. And before you know it, your dreams start to collect dust while your excuses become sharper than your vision. There's a young man named Amir who always said he wanted to start a podcast. He had the equipment, the ideas, even the name, but every time he planned to record, he found a reason not to. I'm tired today. I'll start on the weekend. Then the weekend became the next month, and the next month became the next year. One night, while scrolling through his feed, he came across someone else's show. Same idea, Same niche, same passion. But that person had done it. They'd started while Amir was still thinking. They had hundreds of episodes and thousands of followers. It hit him hard. The truth that ideas are cheap. Execution is everything. Someone else is living the life you wanted simply because they started when you hesitated. Procrastination feels harmless because it doesn't hurt right away. You don't see the loss instantly. But every day you delay, you trade potential for regret. Discipline feels hard in the moment, but regret cuts deeper and lasts longer. People think they're avoiding discomfort by waiting, but the truth is they're only prolonging it. As Jim Rohn said, we must all suffer one of two pains, the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. The difference is that discipline weighs ounces, regret weighs tons. Procrastination is also built on the illusion of perfect timing. We wait for the right mood, the right plan, the right energy, but the right time never comes. The people who win are not the ones who always feel ready. They're the ones who act despite the discomfort. They show up messy, unprepared, scared even, but they show up because they know that action breeds clarity and motion creates momentum. The longer you stay still, the heavier starting becomes. Think about how powerful it would be if you stopped saying someday and replaced it with today. Imagine how your life would shift if you gave yourself permission to start before you felt ready. Every great story began with one small, imperfect step. The book gets written one page at a time. The business built one call at a time. The transformation started with one choice that said, no more waiting. The truth is, procrastination isn't laziness. It's fear disguised as patience. Fear of failure. Fear of judgment. Fear of not being good enough. But you can't outthink fear. You can only outrun it by moving. Every step forward weakens its grip. And one day, you'll look back and realize the miracle wasn't that you achieved your dream. It was that you finally started when every excuse told you not to. Every great change begins with one decision. The decision to stop waiting. Waiting for the right time. Waiting for permission. Waiting for something outside of you to shift. But the truth is, nothing changes until you do. Your habits, your thoughts, your circle, your courage. They're the invisible architects of your future. You can listen to 1,000 speeches, read 100 books, dream 1,000,000 dreams. But if you don't act, nothing happens. You can't climb while clinging to comfort. You can't grow while protecting your excuses. And you can't build wealth with the same habits that built your struggle. So starting today, not tomorrow, not someday, but today, decide that you've had enough of being stuck. Decide that you're done playing small, done letting fear, procrastination, and negativity run your life. Decide that this is the moment everything changes. Because the difference between the rich and the poor, the fulfilled and the frustrated, the dreamers and the doers, isn't luck. It's decision. A single, courageous decision to take control of what others ignore. Start saving. Start learning. Start believing. Start now. No one is coming to rescue you. But that's the best news you'll ever hear, because it means the power has always been in your hands. Break the habits that keep you poor. Build the ones that make you powerful. And remember this, poverty isn't just a lack of money. It's a lack of motion. Your support means everything. If this resonated with you, please like, share, and subscribe. So move. Start. Act. Because one day or day one, you decide. Thank you for being here. See you in the next one.